Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are in the world. My name is Jessica and this Kiwi doesn't have a Goodreads. Let's fix that. So today's a bit of a change of pace, bit of a change of scenery. I thought we would start a Goodreads account and add some of the books that I have read and also some of the books that I want to read onto my shelf and maybe help me understand my TBR a little bit more. So here we go. Okay, so I'm here on the Goodreads main page here, so I'm going to sign up with my email address. Okay, so the account is created, and so the first thing here is setting a reading goal for 2023, and I'm not going to be too strict on this at the moment considering I've only just started my YouTube channel, but from this month until the end of the year, I am hoping to read 12. And that's a lot of books for me. Probably not for a lot of people, but for me that's a lot of books. Take the challenge. Okay, so what am I interested in? Well, fantasy. We figured that one out. Paranormal. I need to get into thriller. I need some book recommendations for thriller because thriller just does not work for me. If you guys have anything, please let me know in the comment below. Fiction, horror, mysteries are a bit hit and miss for me, to be completely honest, because they're quite easy to guess, and maybe that's because I've watched too many movies, but for me mysteries just kind of all go the same way. Humor and comedy, it's actually quite hard to get me to laugh in a book, so maybe that could be a challenge. YA, sure. Suspense. Rate the books that you have read. So I'm going to start putting some of these on my want to read list because I've got them there, but I haven't read them. So I've got these on my list. I've got that one on my list. I do want to read that. I've heard that's amazing. I've heard the Love Hypothesis is amazing. I have read Me Before You. I gave it like a 4.5. So I can rate that one. I want to read that. That will be for an upcoming video. That will also be for an upcoming video. I'm sorry to any Twilight fans. That looks interesting. What's this one about? Anyone will tell you the born of this world are marked from the get out, win or lose. Set in the mountains of southern Appalachia. This is the story of a boy who born to a teenage single mother in a single wide trailer with no assets beyond his dead father's good looks and copper-coloured hair. It's not what I thought it was. A caustic wit and a fierce talent for survival. In a plot that never pauses for a breath, relayed in his own unsparing voice, he braves the modern perils of foster care, child labor. Oh. Trigger warning. Demon Copperhead. speaks of a new generation of lost boys and all those born into beautiful, cursed places they can't imagine leaving behind. That could be a trip. The Midnight Library. I do have this and I do want to read it. Part of Your World. I've heard really good things about this as well. I haven't read any Abby Jimenez at the moment. Court of Thorns and Roses. I've actually just finished rereading this. This is a 4-star and it goes up from there. Fourth Wing. I am currently reading. Not currently reading. There we go. Keep your eyes out for a reading vlog about that. Won't say any more. I haven't read any of the Percy Jackson theories at the moment. Let me know in the comments below if you think I should. Caraval, I want to read. The Echo of Old Books. What is this? Rare book dealer Ashlyn Greer's affinity for books extends beyond the intoxicating. She feels the echoes of the book's previous owners and emotional. Whoa! When Ashlyn discovers a pair of beautiful ooh, this looks good. This looks good. I need to read this. I need to read this. Yes, I want to read at it. American Gods. I have this on Audible actually, and I haven't listened to it yet, but I'm really, really, really wanting to get to it. The Inheritance Games, again, I have not read it, but I would like to. The Night Circus. Stay tuned for a review on that, and I'm not going to put my star rating here just yet. So you have to come back and get my star rating then. We'll talk about that. This is on my must-buy list. Must absolutely buy. I have read more than 3 books this year, I promise. I just can't remember what they were. Here's the thing, is once I've read a book, if I don't think it belongs on my shelf, then it'll go straight to a charity shop, and I kind of don't think about it from there. So this is where a Goodreads account will probably be really good for me, because I can keep track of what I have been reading. Oh, we don't have any book recommendations for you yet. That's fine. I have plenty of books that I can add to my shelf. So let's go through the books that are on my shelf that have deserved a spot. So we've got The Raging Quiet by Cheryl Jordan, and I loved this book. This was probably the only book that I read in high school that I actually loved. I probably didn't appreciate it as much when I was there, but it's one that stuck with me, and one that I bought probably about 6 or 7 years ago, and it's just stayed there. It is absolutely lovely. It's essentially a coming of age / building the most beautiful friendship with a boy, and also dealing with the times where witches were persecuted. 5 stars for that one. Oh! I didn't know she was a New Zealand author. Woo! That makes me excited. Okay, that makes me very excited. I'm going to have to read more of her books. I read this book quite a few years ago, The Kitchen Boy, a novel of the last Tsar. I gave it 4.5, and I don't think I can give any half stars by the look of it. Robert Alexander recreates the tragic fascinating story of the final days of Nicholas and Alexandra as seen through the eyes of the Romanovs' young kitchen boy, Leonka. There is more to the story than meets the eye. It's a beautiful tale, and then all of a sudden it'll just twist, and then it'll twist, and then it'll twist. Fantastic book. The only reason why it's 4.5 is because I really struggled with some of the names and some of the pronunciation. But apart from that, I loved it. Loved it, loved it, loved it. I recommend it to anyone. Alice in Wonderland I read this year. And I'm not gonna lie, it was not my favourite. I just did not like the writing. I just could not get through it. So I have read it. Three stars, unfortunately, for that one. And it's such a shame because it's such a classic book, but the writing, I just couldn't get over the writing. It was confusing, which I guess was kind of the point of the book. I just couldn't get my head around it. Another one that I read this year was The Alchemist by this fella. I didn't like it. So in New Zealand we've got wet calls and there's a top 100, and it's been on the top 100 books list for many years, and that's the reason why I bought it. It's still been on the top 100, but I honestly don't see why. I can see that it's a very philosophical book, but it's written to me like philosophical ideas are trying to be explained to a child, even though the book is written through the perspective of a man from his late teens all the way up until his later life. This book follows the boy's life, where the alchemist is just a very small drop in the bucket of what his life is. So Court of Mist and Fury, again I've read this and I'm about to reread it. This one is kind of in between a 4.5 and a 5 star. Maybe a 4.75. I loved the kind of the to and the fro, if you will, between Feyre and Rhys. The way that Feyre learnt how to use her powers and just kind of being able to see that struggle in the beginning and seeing her come into her confidence and get control of that. I'm gonna rate it on here as a 5 star, but just know that it's not quite a 5 star. It's between a 4.5 to a 5. However, A Court of, where are we? Oh. A Court of Wings and Ruin. That one got a 5 star. I loved that. I didn't like the political intrigue. Like there's a part in the book where it's just essentially all politics that I didn't like, but I loved the introduction to some of the newer characters, the actual battling and the mental battling, and oh, I loved it. Before I forget, most of these I want to read. So what have we got? Is this the first one? Yes, it is. Want to read that. Really want to read that. Really want to read Divine Rivals as well. Now, Curse for True Love, I know this whole series is blowing up through BookTube at the moment. I haven't read any Stephanie Garber, and to my knowledge, it's recommended that you read her other series first. I do want to read that though. Oh, the Da Vinci Code. I'm not a huge fan of Dan Brown's writing. I loved the movies though, and that made it really hard when I went to read the books. I mean, I'm giving it a 3 on here, but it's more like a 3.5. It was okay. I liked it about the same as the Da Vinci Code, so again, it gets a 3-star on here, but it's more like a 3.5. Now, I do have the rest of the series on my TBR shelf, so it'll be really interesting whether I can get used to his writing and love his books even more. And I really hope so. Now, the last ones on my shelf that are a little bit contentious are the Vampire Chronicles, and I've read Interview with the Vampire, which is a 4-star. The Vampire Lestat, which is a solid 4-star. I actually really enjoyed that book. And Queen of the Damned, which was, I think, a 2.5 for me. I really didn't enjoy that book at all. And that was all the multiple POVs. And I struggle with Anne Rice's writing at the best of times because her books are very long. And that, I mean, The Witching Hour is proof of that. That's 1,200 pages. Her writing is fantastic. It's very slow, and it reads as very slow and reads as very laid back as well. And that puts me in a slow reading mood. It'll be really interesting to see what I think of The Witching Hour and that series there. Because again, I love the TV show. And I love Guilty Pleasure, but I love all the Vampire Chronicles movies as well. So those are all the books that are on my shelf. Obviously, there are a lot more that I want to read, and over the coming weeks, I will off camera update all of those as they come along. But I hope you enjoyed this video. It's a bit of a relaxed one, and that is okay. So far on here, I have 14 books that I read. Not all of them have been from this year. I have read more, I promise. There is one that I haven't put on here, and that is a video that is coming out on Saturday morning New Zealand time, and that is Whale Rider. And again, I don't want to spoil my thoughts on it by showing you guys on here, so tune in for that. Well, I hope you have a fantastic day, evening, afternoon from wherever you are, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.